Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you, and welcome to the Gender Equality session organized by Global Compact Network Japan. My name is Aneta Paskaleva. I'm excited to open our session, Gender Equality as a Key to Well-Being, Japan's Challenge. This session will provide an overview of the current status of gender equality in Japan and present 4 real cases of leading Japanese companies and their work to advance gender equality, inclusion, and well-being. Before we introduce our speakers and dive into the session, I'd like to briefly present initiatives and efforts Global Compact Network Japan does to promote gender equality. With more than 400 member companies nationwide, Local Network Japan is moving forward and committing to advance gender equality and women's empowerment according to our 10-year action plan. We have been promoting the Women Empowerment Principles WEPs through the WEPs Working Group, where over 180 members meet on a regular basis to exchange knowledge and experience. Local Network Japan and We Empower Japan program jointly developed the WEPs Handbook in order to promote WEPs in Japan, even after the end of We Empower Japan program. The handbook is a step-by-step guide tailored specifically for Japanese companies. It guides them on what is the WEPs, how can the 7 WEPs principles support companies to become gender responsive, what is the WEPs journey, and how to use the gender gap analysis tool. It encourages companies to make clear commitments, formulate concrete KPIs, and report. It also introduces 10 innovative company case studies that we collected from our members, and We Empower Japan's pilot companies. A total of 29 companies provided over 70 cases. Each selected case offers strategic measures that these companies are implementing and serves as a practical guide to many Japanese businesses. We strongly believe that this handbook will enable companies to advance their work on SDG 5 and strengthen their ESG reporting. We launched this handbook last December and have received very positive feedback. Therefore, we decided to dive deeper into those 70 cases and conducted interviews with 24 of the participating companies. Currently, together with Professor Mari Iizuka, who is a member of the SDG Task Force of Global Compact Network Japan, we are in the process of summarizing the interviews and case studies on management practices to promote gender equality. Today, we have 4 companies to present. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our speakers for today's session. Ikuho Maeda, Coordinator of New Business Incubation Office at the Asa Shimbun. Ayako Miura, Senior Chief of Sustainability Planning Department at Daiwa House Industry. Kazuki Minami, Corporate Officer and General Manager of Human Resources Division at Ezaki Glico. Jun Taneye, Senior Vice President of Group Diversity and Inclusion Promotion at ANA Holdings and Senior Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion Promotion at All Nippon Airways. And Professor Mari Iizuka from the Graduate School of Business at Doshisha Business School, Japan, who will be the moderator of this session. Professor Iizuka, over to you.
Hello, my name is Mari Iizuka. I'm a professor of Doshisha Business School. Do you know the ranking of Japan's gender equality in the world? 120th. It's a shock. Why so low and why so hard to improve? It's a long story, but don't worry, you'll get it in 5 minutes, an example of the 4 companies. First, let's analyze what is the inside of the 120th. In health and survival, we are 65th, but our score is 0.97, so it's not bad. In educational attainment, we are 92nd, but again, our score is 0.98, so it's not bad. So in Japan, women are healthy and educated. Then what's wrong? Our economic participation and opportunity is bad. We are 117th, and then the score is 0.60. And our political empowerment is 147th. So embarrassing. And our score is 0.061. So where to start? Of course, political, but we are a country of democracy, and to change anything, we need to people's consensus, and for that, we need to change people's minds, including women. So how to change? Economic sphere is a key. Japan is suffering because of aging and decrease in population, downtrend of economy and competitiveness, and overall, we are not happy. We are facing the issue of the Japan system. Any system, there are subsystems which complementing each other. And please note, it's so difficult to change a part of one subsystem, such as gender equality. We need to change many other subsystems. Also, any system has ultimate goal implicitly agreed by the members, and the system becomes strong because there are past success. Now let's take a look of three subsystems Japan we like to talk: society, management of the firms, and the system of the family. The ultimate goal of the Japanese is, it is said, it is basically everybody survives harmoniously because Japan is a country hit by the many and various natural disasters. So for that survival purpose, now on the society, corporation function as a social security system through providing long-term employment. For example, in Japan, the good CEOs are considered to the people who do not fire employees. The pay of the executives are relatively low to share to the employees, and the bank financing is prevalent so that corporations do not have to fire people even when the business is not so good. Management system is based on the long-term employment of male employees, and the job security is very high. The pay and promotion are based on seniority so that the family can grow, and to keep such rather inflexible system, women are used for adjustment. Men are expected to work for long hours. Meanwhile, women have a short-term career until getting married or having the baby so that they serve as a young, that's inexpensive, and adjustable workforce to keep the system. How about the family? Men provide finance and they work for long hours to support women take care of all the household matters. They have a time and authority to spend so that they're controlling the household finance. Please note, so in this system, to a certain extent, it is convenient for everybody, including women, because the men get the respect, women get the financial control. Because it is convenient for everyone, the system is enforced. And then eventually very strong unconscious bias towards gender laws are created. Then the bias reinforces systems, so it's very difficult to change. In summary, subsystems are convenient for all, and then because of convenience, it reinforces the subsystems, and then those subsystems reinforce unconscious biases, and then the subsystems and conscious biases further strengthened. Sadly, however, eventually the time comes when the economy doesn't go well. Men feel pressure of overwork and over expectations, but women are hesitant to be mainstream. At the end, families cannot have children in such a system. The population and then the dynamism of society suffers. So we have a shrinking and aging population. Now we are trying to find a way to move to a new system. Gender equality is actually one of the key actions. For Japan, gender equality is not just a measure for poor women, but rather it is how we empower the society as a whole. You will see some statistical videos, and then after that, you hear 4 good presentations. And then I hope you can learn how we are trying to move into the new system for the well-being. Please enjoy.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikuho Maeda and I work for a Japanese newspaper company, the Asa Shimbun. It's such an honor to share with you our initiatives on pursuing gender equality through our coverage and in our workplace. Before starting my presentation, let me introduce you to our newspaper. We have been publishing daily paper since 1879, and we are one of the first media companies in Japan to join the United Nations Global Compact. Our circulation of the printed edition is about 5 million nationwide, and our online version has about 200 million views per month. We're pretty much a male-dominated company. Of our 4,350 employees, the ratio of male workers to female workers is roughly 8 to 2. Only about 13% of women are in managing positions. So let me start off from here. Do you remember this news which came out in February? Do you recognize this man? Yes, he's Mr. Yoshiro Mori. He was the former head of the Tokyo Olympics and he made a sexist remark which provoked a global outrage. He said in an online meeting of the Japan Olympic Committee Council that women are competitive and talk too much. So the meetings with many women tends to prolong. Some attendees from the JOC were laughing at his comments. Our staff writers from the sport news section were there at the meeting, and they knew instantly that this remark was just so wrong in so many ways. They were among the first to report this news, which provoked a storm of criticism, not only among citizens worldwide, but also from the IOC and the Olympic sponsor companies as well, which led to Mr. Mori's resignation. I feel that this incident had a huge impact on our society, building awareness on gender issues, and that this kind of sexist remark is no longer tolerated. So, why did our writers respond so quickly? Here is my interpretation. Back in 2016, Japan ranked 111th out of 144 countries surveyed in the Global Gender Gap Report put out by the World Economic Forum. 111th place is, of course, the worst among the major 7 advanced countries. Although the Japanese government at that time was promoting a policy to increase women's participation and advancement in society, the report pointed out women's participation in economic and political fields remained too low. This was a huge shock to many of our writers. Soon after, a team of volunteers was formed to discuss what the media could do to improve this situation. From February 2017, they started a campaign to bring sexism and gender disparity issues in our society to light. The campaign was named Dear Girls. The team vigorously interviewed many influential people, from celebrities to athletes, and wrote encouraging articles to our female readers, as well as to raise awareness on gender issues among the society, including the male readers. On International Women's Day, the March 8th, our morning edition was filled with news on empowering women. We posted a contribution from the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Guterres, on our front page. From there, we have continued our campaign every year. Each year, new writers joined, some voluntarily and others by request. To be honest, it was not easy along the way. As I have mentioned, our company and our newsroom is quite male-dominated, so it took some time to raise awareness even among our colleagues. But gradually, a consensus was reached, and more people came to understand that this gender disparity clearly has a negative impact on our society, and we, as a media company, should really tackle this issue. From this year, 2021, the campaign has been renamed Think Gender. This was to integrate gender perspectives into our day-to-day reporting. Along with the Dear Girls initiative, we started an in-house women project in 2016. Representatives from different sections held monthly meetings to discuss their initiatives on gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. As the Dia Girls team prepared for the 4th year, they came to know that the media companies abroad, such as the New York Times and the BBC, were also tackling the same issue. The team came up with an idea to draft a declaration so we could promote gender equality in society through our reporting and also within our own company. The team collaborated with the in-house women project to write up the draft, which was ratified by the board in March 2020, and it was made public by our CEO in April. So these are the 6 statements we made in the Gender Equality Declaration. The first is to place importance on diversity and avoid gender bias in our reporting. We picked one indicator, which is a Hito feature. Hito means person in Japanese, that appears almost daily in our morning edition. We promised that in the course of 1 year, the ratio of either men or women featured in this column does not fall under 40%. The second is to aim to reach gender parity among the speakers at major symposiums held by the company. The third is to at least double the number of women in management positions by 2030, and also to encourage our male employees to take paternity leave. The fourth is to hold periodic in-house training regimes related to gender equality. The fifth is to publish booklets periodically, compiling our articles related to gender issues to be used in schools and enterprises. The sixth is to assess the degree of achievement and report the progress periodically. So, how did we do on our first year? This is a comparison of status quo in 2019 and 2021. The figures went up high. The women in management positions rose from 12% to 13%. And women featured in our column went from 28% to 40%, clearing the annual goal. And the women speakers at our international symposiums increased from 36% to 42%. I really think that talk the talk, walk the walk approach is effective in achieving gender equality. So, in conclusion, we're still on our way to pursue gender equality. As the old African saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. I think it's really important that we involve all of our stakeholders, our readers, audiences, employees, and advertisement sponsors in order to achieve this goal. And I really hope that you would join us on our journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here today. It's a great pleasure to speak to you. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm Ayako Miura from Daiwa House. First, let me introduce Daiwa House. Our company was founded in 1955. Our main business is real estate and construction. We have more than 40,000 employees around the world. In 2018, our product, named Kazuki House, received recognition as a notable product for gender equality. The concept of this house is to reduce working wives' housework burdens by sharing chores with their families. How is housework related to gender equality? According to our research conducted in 2017, more than 50% of working wives think that they are doing more than 90% of the housework by themselves. There is a perception gap between husbands and wives about this, but more than 70% of the working husbands admit that their wives are doing more than 70% of the housework. So our product, Kazuki House, is a kind of a solution to this imbalance. This product was developed from our female workers' ideas. This is a good example of how gender diversity is good for companies. Gender diversity brings creativity to companies. Besides this, we do realize other benefits brought by gender diversity. Gender diversity attracts human resources, brings creativity, and reduces risks. However, in our industry, traditionally, there are few females. This slide shows the female manager ratio of Japanese companies. According to the survey of 2020, the average ratio of the companies in the same industry was about 2%. The ratio of Daiwa House Group was 5%. The average ratio of Japanese listed companies was about 9%. We have not reached the average ratio of Japanese listed companies, which is a relatively low ratio compared to many countries in the world. This slide showed the annual working hours in the construction industry in Japan. According to the survey of Japanese government, working hours in the construction industry are traditionally long compared to other industries. This is one of the reasons why there are few females in our industry. In 2005, our working team realized that there was a negative cycle of having women as a minority. At the time, many female workers quit their jobs after getting married. Furthermore, when they faced problems at work, there were mostly no other females to consult with. And from this point, our approach to gender diversity has started. We attempted to break this negative cycle in 3 ways. Increase the number of women, improve the environment to make it easier for women to continue working, and empower women. From the next slide, I will show you our approach. Firstly, I will introduce our evaluation system. To increase the number of women, we made changes to the evaluation system. In Daiwa House, we assess a diversity score for each branch office. And this score is one of the points of evaluation, which reflects on the bonuses of workers in each office. Next, I will show you 2 directions in our approach to improve the working environment. One is a reduction in working hours, and the other one is corrective action. This slide shows an example of reducing working hours. We reduce the time spent to acquire design approval from the government through the adoption of technology. This process generally takes 1 week, but we could shorten the time to 2 days. Like this example, we will actively use technology to reduce working hours. Secondly, let me introduce our efforts at corrective action to improve the working environment for women. In our industry, there are so few women to share their problems with, so we are encouraging corrective actions. This slide shows the example of the corrective action of a women working group of Japanese home builder for female engineers, named Jutak Komachi. The current leader of this working group works for Daiwa House. The group's activities include presentation of academic research papers, career education for students, cooperation with manufacturers to develop inclusive products like lightweight helmet. They are also trying to improve toilets at construction sites. Why? Because toilets are really important for their health. Before, toilets at construction sites were easy to unlock, lacked privacy, and had no sanitary boxes. And many female workers refrained from using toilets, and they consequently suffered from bladder infections. With the collaboration between such working groups and manufacturers of those products, lightweight safety gear and comfortable toilets and other inclusive products necessary in the construction industry are being developed. Finally, I will introduce one of our approaches to empower women. We are expanding working options through the implementation of telework and flex time. The feature of our flex time system is that there are no core hours. Each employee can choose their working hours according to their needs. As a result of all this, the percentage of female workers in Daiwa House has increased, but we still have a lot of work to do towards gender equality and diversity. We will accelerate gender diversity in the company and develop more products that contribute to gender equality. This is all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kazuki Minami, General Manager of the Human Resources at Ezaki Glico. Thank you for inviting me here. Today, I would like to share with you our challenge to change the way of parenting, which is one of the challenges of gender gap as well. Have you ever heard of Poki or Mikado, which is shown in this slide? As some of you may know, these products are made by Glico. Ezaki Glico is a food manufacturer with a wholesome life in the best of taste as its corporate philosophy and has been in business for about 100 years. First of all, let me introduce the history of the company. About 100 years ago, people were not well nourished in Japan. From an early age, Riichi Ezaki, who is the founder, had always believed in contributing to society through business. And he had a strong desire that is enhance people's health through food. One day, he discovered that oyster soup, which was discarded in the factory, contained glycogen, which is a source of energy and good health. He wanted to bring it to the people, especially to the children, so he came up with the idea of putting glycogen into caramel. So this is the first product, Glico, a nutritious candy containing glycogen was born. In addition, based on the idea that the two most important missions for children are eating and playing, so small toys were also included into it. Even today, we have been aiming to contribute to the health of people, such as by launching Japan's first liquid infant formula in 2019, that is product. Here is some data showing the amount of time spent on housework and child care by husband and wife. As you see from this data, in Japan, women spend an overwhelming amount of time on housework and child care. We believe such an imbalanced time has led to the issue of the gender gap, even in working. In order to address such social issues, Glico is taking on new challenge. Most of the corporate efforts to address the issue of the gender gap are limited to the working time, but Glico launched Kosodate project. Kosodate is here, and Kosodate means co-raising children in Japanese, an activity to address the issue of gender gap both at work and home. Kosodate is a word came from the three COs: communication, cooperation, and co-parenting. Through the Kosodate project, we intend to support the healthy growth of children in the future community without a gender gap. Firstly, we have released a new mobile application for free named COPE, C-O-P-E, which can be used by the whole family to support parenting from the time of pregnancy. Please take a look at the introductory video of this application. There are a lot of things that need to be done while raising children. The to-do board in COPE supports communication to help everyone involved in child care and share what they need to do easily. In addition, there are various useful articles for child care that are supervised by doctors in this application. Secondly, this slide shows how we are starting to realize cooperation. The rate of male employees taking childcare leave in Japanese companies is only around 7%. We have revised our regulation regarding childcare leave last year and made it mandatory for all employees to take 1 month of childcare leave to promote cooperation. As a result, the number of male employees taking childcare leave has increased from 4% in 2017 to 100% by the end of 2020. According to the Voice of Employees, this change has made good impact to the working conditions of employees as themselves and also to the co-workers. GRECO aimed to create a corporate culture in which employees can use child care leave as a starting point of their own life design and encourage diversity and inclusion. Finally, not only to change our own company, but also we are working with society and communities. Specifically, we are collaborating with local governments that are interested in expanding childcare services. We developed a Kusodate program with universities to encourage families understanding co-parenting activities. One of them is Miyake Town in Nara Prefecture, where the mayor himself has been practicing co-parenting by taking short-time childcare leave. Since its founding, the GRECO Group has been engaged in businesses that contribute to the healthy growth of children's mind and bodies, with the missions of contributing to society through business. We will continue Kusodate project in collaboration with the various stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Today, I'm delighted to share ANA's initiatives regarding diversity and inclusion in Japan, where the global gender gap ranking has been around 120 for the last several years. Our company was launched in 1952 with 2 helicopters and has developed into the largest airline in Japan, connecting Asia with the rest of the world. D&I promotion is critical for us since our business is organized with many group companies, various departments, and experts. By connecting the power of this diversified team, we intend to offer the best travel experience to our global customers. In 2014, we set a measurable goal, such as the number of female directors and clear time bound followed by the ANA Group Diversity and Inclusion Promise. We've been promoting D&I as one of the key pillars within our management strategy by leveraging the diverse attributes and skills of each individual. To further enrich the diversity management, we established dedicated department to lead D&I and to promote women's advancement in the workplace. We are actively hiring and promoting female staff to various jobs, and the career selection system is one of our positive structures to support equality in career challenges. For creating a corporate climate, we hold an annual diversity and inclusion forum, which more than 1,000 employees attend. The purpose of the event is to promote better understanding of diversity and lead to our actions. Last year, 37 CEOs of ANA Group companies shared their views on D&I with strong leadership. We also have a wide range of training courses and enhanced the system to support staff who have taken a career break to raise their children. As I have mentioned at the beginning, due to its historical background and social system, there are many roadblocks when we are to accelerate diversity management in Japan. More or less, there is still a common idea that each gender should stick to a certain role, such as men should go to work, which comes down to gender bias. This chart shows the time required for work and housework in a double income family. As you can see, the female's housework time is 10 times longer than the male's, and this difference has barely changed in the past 20 years. Gender-based unconscious biases take away opportunities for women to advance their careers. That is why ANA features the topic in our training courses and management message to encourage all employees to face their own unconscious biases, as well as to learn about the impact of these biases. Next, let me introduce the changes we are facing under the COVID-19 pandemic. The financial impact to the aviation industry has been huge, and the IATA has said that global passenger traffic declined by 66% compared to 2019, and ANA as well. Travel restrictions and the substantial fall in passenger demand have forced us to reduce our capacity. However, this situation does not mean ANA should halt our diversity management, but rather we should further bolster our efforts to enhance employee engagement for the future growth. Environmental changes caused by COVID-19 are bringing us a new work style, regardless of gender. Approximately 60% of our indirect department staff work remotely. And a new system has been established which allows employees to take shorter working hours or long leaves more easily. In this way, we are changing our work style, which has less restrictions of location or working hours. This change has enabled male workers to spend more time outside the office and to share household work with their partners. This would be a great opportunity for Japanese to change their mindset regarding housework and career plans for females. Furthermore, although it is reported that COVID-19 has a negative impact on employment more on females, ANA strives to secure jobs. To offset the reduction in operations responding to the pandemic, we have seconded more than 700 employees to companies outside our group. We expect these staff who experience different industries will accelerate our D&I development after returning to ANA. In addition, our management is sending out more messages to improve employee engagement. Last year, we held 1,700 meetings and around 32,000 staff communicated and exchanged opinions with our management team. Let me share the results of our efforts during COVID-19 pandemic. From my employee satisfaction survey, the degree of D&I together with the working environment score has improved significantly compared to 2019. What is more, even under the severe environment, external evaluation of ANA have improved, which we believe is a result of our efforts without slowing down to promote D&I. Through mutual communications, we are creating new values, products, and service that have ever existed before the pandemic, such as the sales of in-flight meals, A380 charter flights, restaurants, and even weddings on grounded aircraft. As described, we are working to create new value while protecting the physical and mental well-being of our people. ANA will continue to foster D&I to improve engagement with employees, drive innovation, and contribute to create a better society.
So how did you enjoy the 4 presentations? In the case of Asahi Shimbun, that they're very influential, they come up with a very sharp articles and some advertisement concerns and then also the conferences, and they try to change the society. But they also try to change the management, and then altogether they try to change the kind of family in Japan. Daiwa House, they try to come up with the interesting house so that they can change the society and the family can participate more. And then also they're trying to address the management so that less working hours and that will help the family. Ezaki Griko, they come up with some smartphone appli so that they will change the society about addressing the family issues. In the case of the All Nippon Airways, that they are responding to the COVID-19 by keeping the employment, but at the same time, they're trying to reduce the barriers of the gender so that and come up with some innovations. So with all together, you have witnessed how the Japanese corporations are vitally trying to change the system and then for the betterment and well-being for the society. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Professor Izuka. Thank you to all of our presenters for sharing with our global audience your insights and journey towards gender equality as a key to well-being. And thanks to all our attendees for joining us here today. We hope the information and cases presented by our speakers have inspired ideas for people to take away from this session. Thank you all so much.